What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Off Grid Podcast. I don't even know what episode number this is, and also this is like full-on mobile airport mode. So Jacob cooked up a little contraption. I am a dumbass, and I left the camera back at home, so that wasn't an option. So Jacob's got this really cool iPhone on a suitcase contraption, and worked out pretty good. But yeah, this is our last day PRI. Yesterday was the last day. Today we're actually literally heading back to Florida. So just kind of wanted to pop on and do a podcast and talk about, since we kind of had a chance to connect with everybody at PRI and talk to our sponsors and partners about what we're doing and all the 2025 season plans, it's kind of cool to come on here, talk about it, like publicize what we're doing because I haven't really said much, and just kind of talk to Dad about his first like PRI experience and stuff. So yeah, something cool there. Yeah, I guess I'll just dive right into it. PRI was cool. We'll ask Dad, what did you think about PRI? Because you didn't come last year. I came last year for the first time. It was my first PRI, and this is your first one. So what did you think, I don't know, what did you expect going into it beforehand? Like,
I kind of got what I expected. I've done conventions like this on my industry, so it was the same thing, but it's all car related, so it was really cool.
Right.
That's what we do. That's what we do for fun. That's what we do to maintain the cars and all that. So it was kind of neat to see some of these guys firsthand, parts that we use on the cars,
right,
and touch base with people like you said, our sponsors and stuff like that, people that we work with, partners. So that was cool.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's a good vibe. I think a lot of people have like a misconception of like what PRI is for like drivers and like how it operates and what you actually get out of it. It's not one of those things where you like show up and like talk to people and like get money. Like it doesn't work like that. Like, so
they're showing you their product. They're showcasing what they do.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, and yes, it is an opportunity to build on that, but it's not one of those things where you show up, meet somebody, and secure some kind of deal. Right. This isn't like we're not at like a job fair for like selling to giving race car drivers Monday.
So we got a few stickers.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, it was cool. I guess what's really new for us this year that we haven't really talked about at all is not competing at all, really. So I decided that, I told Dad, I was like, hey, I don't want to do any Pro-Am related stuff. I've done Pro-Am since 2021. And yeah, I'll just kind of give you guys our schedule and then I'll kind of dive into why we're doing that. But yeah, so we're doing no Pro-Am at all. 0 US Drift Circuit, 0 FD Pro-Am ladder stuff. We're doing 2 Grid Lives, probably 2 Drift Appalachias. Got to kind of get with those guys on that and see about car usage and stuff like that because I know they're very picky, rightfully so. That's the structure of what they're doing. So I just don't know if our car qualifies for that, but hopefully it does. So 2 Drift Appalachia, ideally, 2 Grid Life, probably 3 Grid Life to be honest. We talked with Swan at the booth and stuff, and we're going to try and squeeze a third one in. So let's say 2 to 3 Grid Life, 2 Drift Appalachia, LS Fest, East in Kentucky, East in Texas, sorry. That will be the only competition we're doing. So that's definitely a change up for us. And then we're going to do 4th of July Drift, of course, with Drift HQ, and then probably Fuel Fest in Florida. So either 1 or 2 of those. 2024, we came out to Fuel Fest in South Florida, which was really sweet. Ton of people, ton of marketing opportunity there, which was really sweet. And so we're just going to try and expand on that and build on that and maybe do, I believe they have like a Tampa one coming out this year. So that'll be cool if we can make it out to that. But yeah, we're kind of just basically operating like an Instagram, YouTube schedule and program for 2025.
Yep.
I kind of realized that driving like a very, very small Pro-Am series with not a lot of in-person and online spectators and not the coolest of tracks for our media guy, Jacob, to be able to film at and really capitalize on content creation there. We kind of sold not only ourselves short and what we were able to bring to the table marketability-wise, but also sold our partners short, which in turn just we weren't able to really maximize, at least the way I would like to, in terms of our own social media growth and our own content creation, and then what we can also double down and offer our partners. So I kind of made the choice that after 3 years of competing and doing all of that and not really having opportunity to push new limits in content creation side of things and marketability, that something's got to change. Somebody once told me that like you're like delusional if you like expect change but don't change anything. So that kind of hit me in the face when I was like, oh wow, nothing's changed. But then I was like, oh, it's because we've done the same shit for 3 years, like, and nothing's, so yeah. What are your thoughts on not competing at all in FD Pro-Am and stuff like that? How do you feel about it?
My first thought was wrap it up, sell it, go back to building hot rods. No, just kidding. You know how I roll. I flow, I roll with you. We'll see what happens. I think it's cool. I think you're trying to be more creative. I think the car is going to be like super gnarly.
Right.
With the partnerships that we have with, with our motor program and stuff like that.
Right.
It's going to be cool. LS Fest for sure. I love that because you get to, you're in a competition setting.
It's okay.
But there's also stuff surrounding the competition that builds up to what we're there for.
Yeah.
So we get to see some cool hot rods, get some ideas. Me and my brother like to dabble in that, build some hot rods.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. That was kind of what we kind of connected with a lot of people at PRI for, is kind of just letting companies know. A lot of companies already, we had, mentioned it before, but obviously closing out of the U.S. Drift Circuit series so late because it ends in like October, November, we didn't really have an idea. We had ideas, but we didn't know which route we were going to take until the end of the season. So once the season ended, I kind of was sitting there thinking, and, I just kind of made the choice that I did. And we were here at PRI to talk to everybody about that and build on it. And something that I think is neat is I was able to, as of now, even already, and we still have like a few more partnership deals to organize with some people, but even as of now, we've doubled our partnership intake, like what we've been able to get funding-wise for the program, and just help from support from companies pitching the no competing content creation side of things with what we have mapped out and planned. We've already doubled that, so it's kind of cool because it's one of those things where like you make a decision and you're like, oh, I don't really know how this is going to go. Like, I don't know what the response is going to be. And then it's like, it worked out better than I would have imagined competing even. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm really excited. It'll be cool. We got a lot of stuff in the works. We're going to maybe try and add a new car to the fleet after we sell the ISRZ. We're going to finish putting that car back together and put like LS3 in it and sell it as get the livery off, get a new hatch on it, new bumpers, and sell it as like a ready-to-go package for somebody. It'll be a sweet car, dog box, quick change. We just don't really have the need for two cars anymore because we have the car that we purchased from Billy Mitchell, and it's like miles beyond what we have in the other car, which it wasn't, cheap by any means. It was a lot of money, and we're very deep into that car at this point. And it kind of is just the next level of that other car. So there's no event really that we're going to be doing where we would really need both cars, especially not competing,
Right.
Hindsight 2020 maybe would have been cool to, I don't know. I don't regret buying that car because everything, you need that rowdy of a car even to do these big ass tracks. Like if you're not going to have a car like that, you still need something with.
You got some big boys showing up.
Right.
And stuff. They're not playing around.
Well, not even that, but even Grid Life. Hold on, guys. We got to wait. We got a crazy announcement going down. Plush Corgi. If anybody's missing a plush Corgi. Damn, I forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about the car, the level of the car that we're using.
Oh, right. Like we're doing Grid Life, and you might be like, oh, you don't need a pro car for Grid Life, but like, look who's driving Grid Life. Like all these pro guys and their demo cars, and ironically, their demo cars are more built and more leveled than our Pro-Am cars. So it's like there's no. Well, it's not probably. Look at every FD driver's demo car. It's 600-700 horsepower dog box quick change car. You can't drive those tracks without the right shit. So it's not like we have a waste of car now because we still need to use that kind of car. But we are going to try and build something new and cool with the YouTube stuff. It'll be cool. I'm excited. So we'll kind of just see how that goes. I guess I don't know. We got a front row seat, so. It'll be nice to kind of do shit at the shop and build something cool. We've done Z's my whole drifting career, and like we only really did that because I was so like locked in on just like I gotta get to FD. I'm gonna stay in the same chassis, and like I'm gonna start drifting, and I'm gonna snowball all the way into FD. And it's like then I just kind of drove this really boring chassis for 6 years now almost, and like I've always wanted to do something really cool, and I think that's what we're gonna try and do with this new third car. But it'll be nice. I've never once in my 12 years of driving the sim got on a sim and loaded up a 350Z. So, I feel like that kind of speaks volumes. It's not that you want what you don't have, but it's like we've done the same shit for so long that it's like, okay, let's do something new and cool. And now we're going to have the time to do that, and we're going to have the different event types and styles to be able to do that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It'll be neat.
Kind of like let you drift off into that. That's what you're doing. It's going to be kind of cool. You're kind of growing up a little bit. So
Yeah, I don't know.
you're taking flight, and I'll just be in the background doing some stuff. I think I'm going to step back just a little bit this year
Yeah.
and go back to doing what me and my brother love to do, what I like to do when I'm bored. But I got a motor to pull and rebuild. I got a motor swap to do with our new motor, and then we'll have a spare motor. So we'll pick up another dog box and a quick change probably, just so we have some good spares on the trailer.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, it'll be neat. It's going to be a change of pace for me because I've obviously competed for the last – I started drifting in 2019 and then started competing in 2020. So, like, all of my experience in drifting every year has been revolved around competing and then taking it to the next step next year and evolving and snowballing. Whereas, like, this is the first year where it's like – there's no like direction after the first year of just doing all this cool shit and content creation. There's no like, you just keep pushing the limits from that sense, I guess. Like me and Jacob will just keep leveling up the kind of shit we're able to do and the content we're able to create and maybe the tracks we're going to or the cars we're building at the shop. But it's one of those things where it's like every year in drifting, I've like started at a spot and then been like, I need to get this placing to be able to do this next year.
Right.
Whereas like this year, it's like, the ball's in my court to build a brand and an image and create cool content and market myself and the company that I'm launching on social media. Hold on, we've got another TSA announcement. So it'll be neat. It's just going to be a real change of pace. I'm excited for it. I like branching out and trying new things, and I also feel like as a person, I'm in like my prime years of like changing and developing as a young adult. So like obviously that even applies to like my opinion and outlook on things in drifting and like how we're divvying up the finances and spending our time and money and what's worth it, you know. I'm kind of seeing a lot and I'm getting involved in the industry more and more with people, and it opens my eyes in terms of like, why are we fucking spending this amount of money on this when like getting to the next step is only going to cost more money and not bring in more money. And like at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm very fortunate that you and Mom and all the companies that work with us, like we are able to run a program, but at the end of the day, like if all that gets stripped away, like I have nothing. Like I've built nothing around myself. I've built no brand online. I've built no kind of image really, except from the localized scene. And at the end of the day, like, you know, this has to be it's got to evolve to like a self-funding and self-functioning program, or at the end of the day, it wasn't worth it at all. And then we're not able to do shit in the future. So. And also, like, if you don't do that, you never get to level up. Like, I watch all these people, like, develop their programs, and it's like, when you do it the way that I feel like we've been doing it, it's like you just incrementally get a little bit cooler and a little bit better and a little bit better car. But you do that until you just can't do it anymore. When, like, you see everybody else that kind of grinds content or builds a company or builds a brand, whether it's, like, Nate or Adam or, like, somebody like that. Nate's a great example because he stepped away from competition drifting and built his own business, and then now has a plethora of money and marketability and sponsorship deals to do more than he ever could have. You know what I mean? So, you know, and he's one of the guys that like chipped at it year by year, trying to make it happen in Pro 1 and stuff. And then it fell on its face in terms of like, because it's so fucking hard to do and it costs so much money.
yeah.
And then now he could kind of almost laugh at that if he wanted to. Like he could do 10 times more now than he could have back then just by going off on a different path.
It's only getting more expensive every year.
Right, yeah.
The level of cars, the level of everything, competition, everything. So.
Right, yeah. And I think for me, it was just like I realized how much we were just missing out on what we could offer companies and help them grow and help us grow. And it's like when you see that and you know that opportunity is out there to grab, but like you're hindered by, you know, what you're competing in or what you're doing or building your schedule around, you're like, fuck, dude. Like,
and they're very receptive to what you're talking about.
So. Yeah, no, definitely. So it'll be cool. I'm very, very excited. Yeah. Other than that, PRI was really sweet. We drank a lot of beers, had a lot of fun, had a lot of good food. Indy's got a lot of great food. We got to catch up with my buddy Rob, which Dad got to meet, and Jacob got to meet for the first time.
That's cool.
Rob's a good buddy of mine that used to work in FD and now works in IndyCar, so he basically does way cooler shit than all of us. So, and he's the one that we got to do all that content with last year at the Juncos Hollinger facility, so that was cool. And yeah, we just kind of got to catch up with him, meet his new girlfriend. She's nice, very sweet, very smart girl. We were talking about a lot of business plans.
Happens to be in marketing.
Happens to be in like a business analyst position, you know, out here in Indy for a very major sports team. So, yeah, she was awesome. She was giving us a lot of tips and advice, and even just offering her help on her free time with helping building
that's
what I
cool.
have planned and the program and the content side of things with me and Jacob. So it's really neat. I feel like we've got a year full of just like new and exciting opportunity, you know, and shit we've never done and tried before, which that's what makes me so amped up about it. Cause I was getting like drained out of drifting like this year, which is like, I can't believe I have to even say that because like, it's the thing that I'm like, I'll never get burnt out on this. Like what? Like there's no way. And then you accidentally stumble down trying to accomplish something and you pull the fun out of it. And then it's like, you don't even want to do it. Right. So like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we got a good full year planned out, and we'll know, you know, what lies in store.
We got people in the
after that.
airport that are like, yo, they're filming a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Microphone closer to my mouth. Got it. Check.
But yeah, I know
But yeah.
Jacob. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But, yeah, like you said, we've got a full year planned out. Probably it's going to be stressful anyway, just the way it's all stacked up.
Yeah, we're
But
doing more events this year than we did last year,
Yeah.
and they're further away.
I think they're going to, just the fact that I think they're going to be more lax as far as prep and all that stuff and actually competing and all that. So I think
Definitely.
yeah, for sure. at
Yeah,
the
less
event.
stress at the event.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because at the event it's like 90 to nothing. You blink your eyes and it's like you're loading the trailer up to leave.
Right. But yeah,
So-
I know Jacob didn't want to say too much just because he's sick, but I do want to have him sit down and kind of talk about a few things. So we're going to do a little swip swap and cut it to Jacob. Damn, Variant Imaging.
We are here.
That man really outside with it. That's crazy.
We are in Indianapolis Airport.
Yeah.
We set up the small little suitcase tripod to
Fuck yeah.
record. So
DIY, baby. Low budget, grassroots filming.
honestly, I kind of like this better than like a full production setup.
No,
We
definitely.
need to shift maybe the home setup to like couch and like chill and
Yeah,
hang.
because I got the lights and the cool chairs. Like, I got
mean-
like a very aesthetic apartment.
Yeah, the obviously keep the lights still, but maybe just super chill, lax.
Yeah, ditch
know?
the chairs and everything.
Yeah.
Also, like something about just being able to like hold the mic is so much better
Yeah.
than like playing with the arm the whole time.
And then wondering every time you move if it's like
Right.
this or
Right.
this,
Whereas like this
you
way,
know?
you're just like holding it, and you kind of got it locked down. Well, I want to touch base with you on terms of like your perspective of PRI for the first time as kind of being like the marketing guy in our program and doing all the content creation. Like, what did you expect, and what was it like for you?
I think so. I've never been to SEMA or PRI.
Right.
But being that like working with a big like automotive corporate company before and seeing how they treat like SEMA and the way that they go to the event, and it's very like it's just a straight party atmosphere, and it's a way for people to measure success based off of the business or whatever build that they have that year, to just like flaunt like this fictitious, not a fictitious thing, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. I in my head I kind of pictured PRI that way as well, and people said that it wasn't. But when we got here and seeing like all of these faces to the people that we communicate with almost on a regular basis, and being able to have like that personal connection with them and have them express how much that they want to be a part of your program further than what they already are, I think that was like a big like eye opener. Like these companies are here specifically to help grow motorsports further. They're not like, yeah, they're a business at the end of the day, but I feel like they're much more likely to help you out just by you being there to show your support for them as well on top of that.
Right.
So it was cool to see like and touch base with all of like the sponsors and whatnot, especially for our program specifically, and some new ones too.
Right. And also just like connect with so many people from like across the country that you like all you see year in and year out is your DMs with them and their profile picture and their name.
Yeah.
But then it's like you finally just get to like hang out and drink a beer. Like,
Yep. All
It's
confined
crazy.
into like one small 100 by 50 bar together.
shout out O'Reilly's.
Yeah.
O'Reilly's Pub and Eatery,
Yeah.
downtown Indianapolis, the PRI spot for all the drifting homies. We're a bunch of degenerates. You got
Yeah.
Matt Schulman in there hitting on all the women. So, yeah, it's a good time. And Derek Madison hitting on the bartender and shit. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, no, it was really cool. And then just being able to see what further value we'll be able to bring this year versus, you know, other years with your competition stuff. Like just seeing sponsors' faces light up when you told them that you weren't competing. Like at first they were like, oh man, like that's initially what we marketed this towards or had expected. But now you're like growing and developing and changing into this completely other person. And even at like 22, that you saw that and had that realization early and are attacking it prior to like being completely burnt out. I think it was cool seeing them all light up and like get excited for this year to come, and then hopefully many after that too.
Right. Yeah. No. It's really neat. It's like a not that I need the affirmation, but like it's nice to have the affirmation when like someone's like, oh my gosh, like you like have it all figured out, like you understand it, like you're making the right call. Yep. And I'm like, I'm just trying to make the right call, but like, it's cool that a lot of people are like, no, dude, like you are right. Like what you're doing now is not working for you. And like
to be ever changing, dynamic,
right.
Like move with it as it grows too,
Right. Yeah.
And changes.
I was chatting it up with Greg, my buddy from, you met Greg, Works Greg. And he made a valid point. He was like, dude, there's like multiple avenues of like how you can get to FD and like build a life as a professional drifter, and like none of them are like right and wrong. It's just like you need to figure out like which pathway you're gonna take, which one works for you, which one you fit into, and
whichever one you enjoy the most too. Like it's whatever is gonna make you the happiest in the long run. Like it's all for fun at the end of the day. It's a hobby that has the ability to grow into something more, or a passion rather. So maintaining that is what's going to make it like infinitely easier down the road. Yeah.
And I think for me, like something that shifted was like my perception of like professional drifting and like drifting for a living. Like at the end of the day, like I just like drifting, and like I want to like drift a race car.
Uh-oh.
It's got my attention. I've hit a point where I'm like,
no way.
And now they got to run it back in Spanish.
Yeah, that's funny.
What I was saying before we got rudely interrupted in Spanish this time by TSA in their own building is it's cool that like I've hit a point where like I kind of circled back to like what I perceived and loved about drifting when I first started like playing the sim and shit. And that was just like the feeling of just like drifting a car with other people. Like, like what I loved about drifting, like before I like was like, oh, I wanted to be a professional drifter, but that's because like my perception of like how you drift for a living was like Formula Drift. Yep. And that's it. Like my brain was like fixated on that. And then I think as I got older and more involved in the industry, and I realized that like just because you make it to pro spec doesn't mean like you get to drift for a living and like travel around the world and like do cool shit and drive at all these events and all these tracks. Once I like realized that, I was like, for a couple years I still did it because I was like, nah, that's just bullshit. Like they're just telling you that because like they think that,
Yeah. I mean, that's like there was a point in time where like just being good at motorsports in general, not even just drifting, but just being good at motorsports did get you to that level. And I think that I just think that the marketability route with the way social media and the internet is evolving is not the only way to get there, but you have to build a brand of some sorts, whether it be like a personal brand, a company, or whatever it is, and then diversify like across that.
Right. But even then, like, that's what I was getting at is like the actual what defines like drifting for a living, or like being a I don't necessarily know that I want to be like a professional drifter. I think what I do know is that like I want to be able to like travel around the fucking country with my dad and like share this experience that we bond over.
Drive,
like
have fun,
I want to drive
with
all the
homies,
cool ass tracks that I load up on the sim in a badass car, right? Like,
I mean, it's like
that is cool. If I can do that, like if I can do 10 events a year with my dad in a toter home, like driving across the country, like and it not cost him any money, it not cost me any money. That's that's my definition of like drifting for a living and making it like.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty fucking competitive person, so for like my perspective to shift on it that far, like I feel like it was just like wow.
Yeah, but then like the competition perspective will just shift, like you'll be at these fun events and you'll be doing 100 miles an hour around like this big sweeper. One lap you could be 4 or 5 feet away from somebody, and then in your head the next lap you're going to be 6 inches away from that person. And
definitely.
Just push it. You'll be able to push yourself in different ways. And I think that'll also help develop you as a driver because
for sure, driving these gnarly tracks,
you're gonna have
these gnarly guys.
More circumstances and like iterations of laps and things to work around.
Definitely, it'll be cool. It's gonna be neat. It's gonna be a crazy year for RAR. Just gonna be a huge culture shift in what we're doing. Basically, like Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, I don't know what it's gonna feel like. I don't know what it's gonna.
Nobody
I don't
really
know.
knows, dude. Nobody
No.
knows how or if it will. I mean,
Yeah.
but the only way to get that is you had an idea in your head. You got to take the steps to at least
Right.
see that next goal out.
Yeah.
You know, that's all it is.
So-
Just take intermittent or incremental goals and achieve them one by one.
Right. And at the end of the day, like, I just want to have fun. And like what I was doing, like, I wasn't having fun. So like, no matter what happens, no matter what kind of marketability or growth we see, like at the end of the day, like when the year comes to end, I'm going to be happy because like I finally took the step to do what I wanted to do in the back of my head.
Yep. How many smiles per
And-
lap are you getting?
Right, exactly. I spent the last couple years of my drifting career just kind of like being unhappy with what we were doing and the vibe of everything. And I was just too afraid to take the step and be like, hey, right now, like, this isn't what I want to do. Like, it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard to like, you know, my whole thing has been built around like, oh, we're like chasing FD, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then so to like have to like look at our partners and look at the people we work with and be like,
And
hey,
then have to break that news. Like, you don't
Right.
know how they're going to take it either.
Right.
Like, that's,
what I do love is that everybody's so supportive of it. They're like, dude, like, you're just gonna like be driving all these cool ass events, and you have like an actual like content creation and marketing plan. Like, this is shit that like we technically like had we had the knowledge we have now could have like been offering previously and should have. But you know, you live and you learn. It's you grow. Nobody,
Yep.
if somebody knows this off the start, they'd hit the nail on the head from year one, right? You know,
Yep.
and some people do. Some people that come from other spaces and have built famous big YouTube channels or brands in other industries, they come into motorsports and they fucking crush it instantly because they have all the knowledge, right?
Yep.
But when you're like a 22-year-old kid, like trying to just figure out how to fucking make it in life and still go to class and like, you know,
yep.
I'm over here writing papers about like some ridiculous like economic theory, like, and then like I'm also trying to like build
And
a
then you're
YouTube
like,
channel,
dang.
like,
I could go to Texas and drive my car there,
yeah, so.
you know?
But yeah, we just kind of wanted to do like a PRI recap and another podcast episode and just talk about some of the shit we're doing for 2025, which will be neat.
Lots
And
of changes.
hopefully this will be out sometime the week after PRI. And yeah, I'm very stoked. I'm excited. I know that we're doing so much cool shit this year and we're going to be at so many different places and see so many faces and just actually have fun and do a lot of cool shit and be involved in some really cool stuff with the next level of drifting with Grid Life, collaborating with FD. I mean, it's ironically coming full
That is
circle.
so crazy. Yeah.
You know, but
That it just happened. Like, you figure we came up with this idea. Well, you really came up with this idea quite a few months back.
Right.
I would say you've been thinking of sitting on it for a while.
right.
And then when we announced that we
Even
wanna start-
mid-season,
yeah,
I was like, yo, like,
yeah. And then
So.
you're like, I kept pushing like Grid Lives and wanting you to do Grid Lives. And then you're like, no, we're going to do Grid Lives because that's like it. Like, that is like the pinnacle of fun event to
Right.
drive.
it's the pinnacle of marketability, and I don't know anybody at FD. I don't have close ties to anybody at FD, so this is just me speaking on like an outsider looking in. But I feel like FD realized, or just has always seen like the scaling and how the actual exponential growth and marketability of Grid Life,
Yep.
and been like, hey, like between us being like U.S. competition drifting and you guys being the pinnacle of racing events and even drifting for fun events,
Yeah.
we can collaborate and build this into like a huge thing. So good on FD for that. Really stoked. Good on Grid Life for doing that. Also stoked. And then yeah, it'll be cool to finally be involved. So
Yeah, that was a big shock for us, like just being at PRI and like
Yeah.
we were in another like seminar meeting and
yeah,
then
we're in like a
we
conference with that.
yeah, and we saw the announcement. We're like, oh my god! So yeah, really excited for 2025 for
me too.
for us in the program.
Me too. Yeah. So stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot of cool shit. And yeah, we'll catch you guys soon. Just, you know, keep up on the Instagram, the YouTube, the website, whatever we're doing. We're always doing something cool. So that's going to wrap it up. And we should probably film something
ASAP.
soon because we fucking neglected the podcast for like a fat minute
Yeah.
and just like spammed Instagram and YouTube content. But yeah, check back. We'll be alive. So see you. Peace.
Peace.